Welcome back to Banished Hero Party Anime Review episode number 5. Yeah, it's been a little bit since I did my last review. It's like I only last episode of review I did was actually on Sunday. So now I'm getting very close to basically finishing up what's there for the series Banished Hero Party. With this review, I'm discussing episodes 10 and 11 for the series. Episode 10 is called Saving the Hero, and episode 11 is Gathering of Champions. Now, I did finish reading book 3. So, the first episode, from what I can tell, reading the book, did cover the first 2 chapters of the book, while in the case of episodes 2 and 3, it didn't exactly finish up adapting the chapters per se. No, it didn't. Let's see. For chapters wise, from book 3 for the series, I'd say these episodes here. Well, there's a list of the chapters here, but I do have the digital book. When it comes up, of course, it's gonna take a bit. Yes, so. Well, in the case of these episodes here, I'd say that the well, in the case of like episode 9, that covered the first 2 chapters. I think in the case of these 2 episodes here, episodes 10 and 11, I think that 10 covered chapter 3 because it continues where it left off, and chapter 4. Yep. I could probably say that 12 probably covers the epilogue of this book, and maybe, just maybe, that we might go into book 4. Who knows? Now, we pick up left off last time, where Ruti has reunited with her brother. Yes, this is the first time in present day that she has seen her, because a lot of the time when Ruti is with her brother, it's usually in flashbacks. And of course, Tussie is here, and of course, now they do cut the bit out. There's a little bit of conversation to cut a bit out here, where Gaon, one of his friends from Zeon, questions, I didn't know he had a sister. But they cut the conversation out. But then we cut straight to Ruti having a conversation with her brother, having tea. Where she has decided to quit being a hero. Of course, this whole thing, of course, later on, I think in episode 11, they revealed that she's taking a drug. And of course, they broke out the guy who actually makes the drug. The Devil's Blessing. And in the case of Danon, he pops up in episode 11, reunites with Red. Of course, I'll get to that. So, after talking for a while, then Rich shows up, and of course, Ruti asks the obvious question: "Are you living with somebody?" And he says, "Yes." Of course, he brings up when they met Ruti last. Then Ruti sits down and have tea, and the four of them basically later on. In the book, they mentioned that after this little meeting with each other, apparently she's been a frequent visitor to the apothecary. In the anime, there's no mention of that at all for some reason. Probably because it wasn't necessary. So after they leave, then later on they come by and then they decide to, let's take a tour of town. So they go to a sauna. Now, they do cut the bit out here, like a little bit of dialogue here, where Gideon is explaining to his sister that they have to do separately because, they mentioned, they used to bathe when they were kids, but this is basically something they can't do the same thing. And of course, Ruti walks into her sauna completely naked with no towel on. And the woman are like, why the heck does she have a towel for? Whereas later on showing the flashback, apparently she's able to shake all the sweat off of her really quickly. Oh yeah, I do see Ruti wear look like normal short and shorts, which is a bit unusual to see in a world that is a fantasy-based world. Of course, everybody's quite surprised the fact that Red has got a sister who's so beautiful. They're like so surprised about that. Then later on, they decide to they go back to the apothecary after going through town for a bit because they actually count the trip they actually made in the actual book itself. While in the case of the anime, like right when they get back, Red recommends them take a bath. It's like, okay. And of course, she asks Red to join her. And of course, Tessie just volunteers to join him. And they do cut the bit out where, despite the fact they do have a big bathtub upstairs, he had to bring another one upstairs in order for Tessie to take a bath. And of course, Ruti goes to the obvious question: Rit, have you bathed with my brother before? And she says, yes. Yeah. Of course, she mentioned the fact she wants to give up a hero. She mentioned she also wants to live in the town. And I do appreciate a lot of the anime. Do keep a lot of that stuff. It's interesting though. It cuts some. It's mostly. I would probably say the only thing cut from here, from these 2 episodes, what I'm reading from the book, is mostly dialogue. Yeah, mostly dialogue. There is an interlude in the book where it explores an alternate universe for this series, where Gideon is last strong. And of course, they do bring up a flashback, which I believe did happen in the book itself, where we have Rit basically going out and getting lost. She saves a little girl from a owl bear. I mean, they don't say it's an owl bear, but it is. And she's there for a while. And then, of course, Gideon shows up and saves her. They cut the explanation that he promoted Esquire, and that's the reason why he was able to go back home. They cut that out of the anime for some reason. Now, the other 2 conversations, the other bits of dialogue, I didn't mind. That was important. They needed to keep that in. Otherwise, though, it would seem that Red just simply abandoned his duty just to go home to see his sister. And then, of course, they had to do set up a special hideout to get away from the inn. They go to the Elven Ruin, which, oh boy, like, when they go to this place, like, okay, like, fantasy world, and they go in, and it looks like a futuristic spaceship. So the Wood Elves apparently made this thing. This looks like the inside of a freaking spaceship, with the walls look like they're lined with like a wall, like lines. It looks like the inside of a spaceship you would see in one of the sci-fi movies. Where they go, and of course, Gideon always points, oh, of course, he can't use the device. How the heck would he know about elevators? Yeah, this world is basically so baffling to me. Like, using phrases, some stuff that basically people from fantasy world would not use. The style of dress. My guess is a lot of the stuff they use probably was someone who's isekai'd. They don't say it, but I'm sure that's probably how the world works. And they go to the ruins. Now, before I continue, I have to talk about what happened with Dion, where he reunites with Red. First time that he's seen him since that flashback back in episode 1. And then, of course, they chat for a bit. Of course, he does mention what happened to him, where he washed up on shore. He mentions his hand got chopped off. Yeah, that explanation, believe it or not, that was actually a scene that was cut from the anime. I'm not really sure why it was. I guess they probably cut it due to time. But I'm glad the fact they referenced it, because otherwise, though, a lot of people are wondering, like, okay, what happened to his hand? So apparently the demon they fought in the flashback, one of the demons they fought, apparently is alive, and, well, they mentioned he's posing as an adventurer named Booty, which they will get to. So they gotta meet up with him. And of course, Rit does bring up to Red that she, well, of course, prior to this, while Ruti is off with the guy who makes the drug, Tessa reveals to Rit and Red that, well, she's taking the demon's blessing. Like real Ruti's plan. And he's a bit mad at her for doing it, but he's not angry at her, per se. And then later on, when they meet show in the ruin, basically, they have heart-to-heart, and it's a great scene. I appreciate the anime basically do the scene really good justice. It's odd that they do this in a storage room, of all things. A freaking storage room. Yep. Now, for being wooden elves, I would think wooden elves, basically like wooden, like, maybe like underground fortress. But no, it's just a metal fortress, basically, we see from a sci-fi movie. Yep. And then Ares shows up here, comes to the town with Tedro and some other guy they had to cover with magic. And of course, she does see Gideon, first time since that flashback where he was banished. And then she goes up to the guy who apparently got his hand chopped off. Who the heck this guy is? It's assumed it might be the guy who Gideon beat up a couple steps back, but who knows? And apparently everybody's at the ruin now. Dion basically is not really there per se. The fake Dion is there. Then Ares basically tells Ruti, she's here, want to be just part of two, and she's like, no, and she proceeds to stab him in the freaking gut. Yep, the hero stabs somebody because she's got hardly any emotions, and she wants to weaken her blessing in order to basically have emotions. That's basically what she wants to do. And then, of course, Ares, who I should point out, though, apparently is growing some facial hair since his last appearance, just a couple back in episode 9. Yeah, so apparently by the time he shows episode 10, he apparently grew some facial hair. And he is getting desperate, and he's going stir mad crazy. After he gets stabbed, he heals his wound. And then Astro Demon, who was actually Booty the Adventurer, who Rit met a couple episodes back, reveals to him that, oh yeah, there is an item associated with the very first hero of this particular ruin. And they recommend they go get it. Yep. And that's literally the 2 episodes. They even mentioned that the Lilandra left because she suspected that Gideon was killed by Ares. Lilandra, for some reason, aside from appearing in flashback, she's not appearing present in the anime, which I think is kind of weird. I would think she would, but she hasn't yet. But yeah, this episode overall, these 2 episodes were pretty good. I do like the fact we're progressing this series up really well. Now, I'll be able to basically watch episode 12, no problem. Yeah, I'll be able to watch episode 12, no problem, and basically move on to episode, well, technically right now anyway, there's only 1 episode left to go for the entire series. Yep. But yeah, that's it for Circle of You. Stay tuned for the next review, which will be to date, the most recent episode to air, which I think did come out this week. Yes, I believe so. Let me take a look at that just to be sure. Because I need to figure out exactly when the heck it came out. Let's see. This came out on Wednesday this week. So the final episode, which has not been, released yet per se. It's possible this could be the final episode of the series. Well, the season per se. I'm not really sure, but who knows. So until you see our next video, which will be either, basically a one video for this. There's also my Christmas haul whenever I finally get a chance to wrap my Christmas presents in case closed. Okay? Here's the next video. Bye.